Hey guys, in today's bass guitar lesson, I want to talk about the difference between major and minor chords and how to practically apply them on the bass guitar. I'll see you inside the lesson. So first of all, I want to say a huge thank you to you guys, the eBassGuitar viewers and subscribers to this channel, because we have literally just hit 20,000 subscribers, which is an incredible milestone. It's amazing to be able to share all this incredible bass guitar information designed especially for the beginner to intermediate bass players, and know that you guys love it so much. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you hit that red button, which is somewhere around this video. So over the past month or so, we've had some incredible viewing figures on two videos in particular. The first one is learn 4 chords and instantly be able to play hundreds of songs. And the second is common chord progressions all bass players should know. And the thing for me as a teacher is I'm always coming back to basics, because there have been some comments below the video which has said something along the lines of, James, I know this may sound like a ridiculous question, but what are chords and how do we apply them to the bass guitar? So I'm going to show you that today and discuss the exact differences between major and minor chords, because this is super important. Before we hit the lesson content, I'd love to just ask you guys a quick question. What was or is your first bass guitar? Mine was a Squire jazz bass in Olympic white with a white scratch plate. I'd love to find out what yours is. Please do let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget, as always, there's a completely free PDF, so you can see everything we're discussing today written out in standard notation and tab. There's a link in the description below where you can grab your free copy. Also, all of the backing tracks we're using today are available in the backing track vault if you're a BassLab Plus member over at eBassGuitar.com. So first of all, let's answer the question of what are chords and how do we apply them to the bass guitar. So a chord in its literal definition is 3 or more notes played together. And it sounds like this. That's a C major chord. As you can hear, it sounds quite muddy and indistinct. So in practical terms, the bass doesn't play chords very much at all. Typically, these are left to the guitar and piano player because they can use much higher notes which sound more pleasing to the ear. So what we do as bass players is we take notes of the chord and play them individually and integrate them into our bass lines. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. But first of all, let's look at the construction of a major chord to begin with. So a major chord is derived directly from the C major scale. So get this under your hands to begin with. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So we can play what's called a triad, and the notes of the triad make up the chord. So those are the C, we miss a note out, the E, and the G, like this. And what this gives us is a very specific shape under our fingers. So we can play the C there with our second finger at the 3rd fret on the A string, the E at the 2nd fret on the D string, and the G at the 5th fret on the D string, like that. And we get this shape here that I want you to try under your fingers. And these 3 notes, the C major triad, outline the chord of C perfectly. And we want to incorporate these into our bass lines. We can also now create a minor chord as well. So what we do here is we simply take this second note here, the E like that, and move it back half a step. So it becomes an E flat like so. So we end up with this pattern. So C, E flat, and G like that. But what I suggest you do is you refinger it straight away and put your first finger on it like so. C, E flat, and G like that. So as a basic rule of thumb, major chords, you come off a second finger like this. Minor, come off a first finger like this. So first of all, I want you to get those 2 patterns under your fingers to begin with. So it's worth talking about, in terms of sound, what's the difference between a major chord and a minor chord. So if you listen to the major chord here, it has a fundamentally happy, more joyful sound. And if you listen to the minor chord here, it has a sadder, more melancholy sound to it. And I'm going to demonstrate this in the examples in just a second. But if you're at all confused about this, as bass players, if you see a chord written down, the number one thing that we need to do is play the root note. So if you see a C chord, your go-to place is a C note like that. And then you can start integrating the other notes of the triad into your bass line in due course. So what we need to do is take everything we've discussed so far and bring it into the real world. And I do that by using two songs which demonstrate the ideas of major and minor perfectly. So the first one to demonstrate major is Dance the Night Away by the Mavericks. This is literally got two songs throughout the whole of this piece. So it is a bar of E, and then a bar of B, and that simply repeats. And what we can do is we can take the major shape that we discussed here, turn the bass on, like that, and create a bass line across those two chords. So we can find our E root note at the 7th fret on the A string, and then our B root note at the 7th fret on the E string, like that. And all we're going to do is create a bass line which sounds like this, and then down to the B. And you can see directly the notes of the triad are in that bass line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that along with the backing track so you can hear the major triad in the bass part, and you can also hear the major harmony or the chords coming from the rest of the track. So as you can hear, Dance the Night Away is fundamentally happy and joyful, and it also has a fast tempo to it. Now, to demonstrate minor chords in action, I'm going to use the legendary Bill Withers tune, Ain't No Sunshine. Now, there's fundamentally an 8-bar chord sequence which runs through the verse sequence, and we are in the key of A minor. So it starts off with 4 bars of A minor. And what I want you to do there to begin with is just play the minor triad. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want you to use that over the A minor chords to begin with. And then we're going to shift to a bar of E minor, which we can get at the 7th fret on the A string, to the D minor, to the A minor. So that's the first thing that I want you to try to begin with. But for the sake of authenticity, I want to show you the original bass line which is on there, which is very, very highly related to the chords. So on the A minor chords, what I want you to do is play the A, and then drop down to the open E, and then come back on the G like that. So we end up with this pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then when we go to the E minor and the D minor, I want you to just play the triad there. And this will really show you this minor harmony in action. So let's play it along with a backing track so you can hear this in context. great bass line there. Don't forget you can use the triad or you can use the original bass line over the A minor chord. The choice is yours. If you're enjoying this lesson, I would love to ask you, please make sure you subscribe to the eBassGuitar YouTube channel. There's a button somewhere around this video. This means you'll be the first to know when a new lesson goes live, and we release a lesson every single week designed especially for you beginner and intermediate bass guitar players. So let's start wrapping things up. As you can see, these two examples here either exclusively use major chords or minor chords. But what's more typical is that songs and chord sequences mix both major and minor chords up. And this is where the legendary 1-5-6-4 chord sequence comes from, which we discussed in the lesson Learn 4 Chords and Instantly Play Hundreds of Songs. And this is kind of akin, this chord sequence, to the legendary Journey tune Don't Stop Believing. You'll hear hundreds of songs actually within this one chord sequence. It's that popular. So let's talk through this, and then we're going to apply a bass line so you can see where these ideas go. So this starts off with a bar of C, and then to a bar of G, and then to a bar of A minor, and then to a bar of F. So we're going to put a rocky bass line to it, which sounds like this, exclusively made up from the triad. So you can see the C major triad shape there. We're going to move it down to the G here. So we have the G major triad shape. The A minor on a first finger. Let's play that again. Like that. And then the F. Don't forget this is all written out in the standard notation and tab which comes with this lesson. So the important thing is to appreciate the shapes and how we're superimposing them over the root notes or the chord sequence on the fretboard. So let's play it with the backing track so you can hear this in context. I'm going to play it simply to begin with the fundamental bass line, then I'm going to break out a little bit so you can see where this concept can go. Guys, that's the end of this lesson. First off, don't forget to watch those two other YouTube videos. We'll link to them in description below and at the end of this video. So make sure you watch Learn 4 Chords and Instantly Play Hundreds of Songs and Common Chord Progressions all bass players should know. Next up, don't forget, if you want to learn more about how all of this stuff works and discover a step-by-step program designed especially for the beginner to intermediate bass player, which is going to teach you all of those most important skills so you can get out there jamming and impressing your friends and joining bands and all that good stuff, make sure you jump over to eBassGuitar.com and check out the Bass Lab Plus. There's a link in the description below where you can join completely free with a 14-day trial. Cheers, I've been James from eBassGuitar.com, and I will catch you very, very soon.